think in its most basic form, most natural-looking light scenarios done in CGI combines an environment light, or an HDRI, and a singular light source, like a spotlight or an area light. And that's exactly what I did here. I first set up the ambient light, which is this HDRI. Now, if I hop out of the camera, you can kind of see in real time what it looks like, where the light sources are coming from and so on. When I go back into the camera, notice how the exposure is not very bright and doesn't have much direction to it. Now, if I enable this area light, you'll be able to see how that HDRI contributes to the overall scene. If I turn off the HDRI with the area light on, that HDRI contributes a lot to the shadows, and overall, with both of these lights on, we get a very balanced, high-key type of light that looks, I would say, very similar to what you would normally get on a typical sunny day. Oh, and to add a little bit of variation and interest, I grabbed a tree from the asset browser and placed that in front of the area light like so. Very nice. All right, for this one, I applied the exact same principle as the last example. I added an HDRI first to set my ambient light exposure. I used this one called the Rio Bay Cloudy from GSG because of its outdoor nature. If I hop out of the camera, you can see what that looks like and where the light sources are coming from. Okay, let's hop back into the camera. The exposure is set to 0, which is default, and I already thought that looked good, so I went ahead and simply added an area light afterward to camera left to mimic a little bit of that sunlight. So it doesn't look too good right now, so I added a gobo texture to try to break up the uniformity of that light. I did that by going into the object settings and simply adding a grayscale image from my computer into this slot. Now with this, you do need to make sure that your light spread is near 0, if not absolute 0, or else you're just not going to see that gobo take effect. Comparing the two side by side, you can see the one with the gobo adds just a little bit more interest than the one without. Now this one was a little bit more tricky, especially in trying to balance the lighting ratios. I first started with an HDRI like we do, and I chose one that also was going to act as our background, and I was going for this cloudy, sunny sky look, so this is what I ended up using. The main thing to keep in mind when using HDRIs as backgrounds in addition to adding light is keeping this background option ticked on and using the rotation coordinates to reveal what you want revealed in your frame. The next step, just like the previous examples, was to add an area light, and since this light is supposed to imitate what I was going for as sunlight, I experimented most with the light's spread to make sure the shadows were a bit more harsh. So notice if the spread is all the way up to 1, the shadows are so soft they look pretty much non-existent. While putting the spread to the amount I had set to, you get much more shadow definition and overall a look that just looks more similar to what direct sunlight looks like. Now, I thought I was done, but the image looked a little bit off. What I noticed with these types of outdoor product shots is that there's just overall much more light involved. My image still looked quite dark given what I was going for, so all I did was add another HDRI on top of the one I already had as an overall fill light to brighten up the image just a little bit more. Now, if I compare those two images, I think the one with the added HDRI just added a little bit more life to the image. So these are the 3 lighting setups I created to create product shots set in more realistic environments. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching and hope to see you next time. Take care.